Hey, you guys, and welcome back to another episode on Exactly Correct. I am your host, Trina Felicia. Thank you so much for taking out the time to join us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, tonight. Whenever you are tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope everyone is having the greatest day of your life. And if you are not, you still have time to do so, all right? Today's topic is shifting the focus. We're going to be talking about changing our perspective and shifting our focus. At some point in our lives, many of us have spent time focusing on things we can't control. We focus a lot on things that aren't going our way, the things we don't have or what we have not accomplished. And sometimes the very thought of focusing on what we do not have can cause us to be unhappy. And it really, if I can just be completely honest, it can stress you out. Okay. This past week and for a couple of weeks now, that has honestly been my story. So I've realized that this means it's probably time for me to just shift my focus. So simply put, it's time to change our perspective so that we can change our lives. And I know that that doesn't sound like the easiest thing to do. So I do understand that it won't always be easy to do this, but changing our perspective is really, it's really about adjusting our mindset to focus on what we do have. It's about adjusting our mindset to focus on what we have accomplished, the things that we can control. I am an advocate of therapy. So I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but I am in therapy, right? And one thing that my therapist has said to me is that when I can't control a situation or a circumstance, I tend to lose control. And what I am learning to do is to shift my focus on the things that I can control. The truth of the matter is that we spend too much time focused on what isn't going right, who's not supporting us, who's not in our corner, what we don't have, what we haven't achieved. And when we do this, and I want to say this in the most proper way, but when we do this, when we focus on those things that we don't have control over, we're simply wasting our time, you guys. We have to shift our thoughts to what we do have, to the things we have accomplished, to the people who have supported us, to the ones who are in our corner. A lot of times we need to shift our focus to us. And here's the thing, and I said this in a previous episode, it's called self-care. We have to begin to shift our focus to us. Recently, I was sitting in my living room. I was sitting on the couch. And I started thinking about all the things I don't have. I started saying to myself, like, I don't have children. I'm 38 years old. I don't have children. I don't have a husband. I don't have a person. I don't have this and I don't have that. And I don't. And I literally out loud said to myself, Trina, please. Please, okay? Have you ever just gotten on your own nerves? In that moment, I had gotten on my own nerves because I was so focused on what I don't have, where I am not in life. And I had become so consumed with that I lost focus of what I have accomplished, what I do have, where I am right now in this moment, living in my moment, to where I got on my own nerves. And I literally said out loud, Trina, please. So I'm going to say to you, please, okay? Please. All right. Become consumed with what it is that you need from you instead of thinking about what you don't have, what didn't work out, what's not working out, what's not going as we want it to go or as we hoped it to go. Start focusing and being so consumed with what you need from you. How can I better me? Is what I started asking myself. I'm literally working on so many things. There is one big project, one big thing that I'm working on right now that my focus and my goal is to be done with it, to be finished with this by the end of the year so that I can launch this by the beginning of 2024, the new year coming in. And so I had become so consumed with what I didn't have that I started losing focus on what I needed to work on. So we have to start shifting our perspective and becoming more consumed with what we need from us. How can I better me? What is it that I need to work on in order to be in the best possible position in my life right now? What is it that I can sit down and start focusing on that can put me in a better position? You're unhappy with your job. You're unhappy with where you are in life. What can you do at this very moment to put yourself in a better position? What is that thing that you can do? We have become so good, so great at being everything else to other people that I'm learning that we have not developed a relationship with our own selves. We've become so good at knowing how to be everything. Whatever someone else needs, whatever you need from me, I know how to give that. Whatever you're asking me for, I know how to provide that to you. But I have learned that I, Katrina, have become so good at being great at everything else for everyone else that there are times that I literally have no relationship with myself. We're so accustomed to showing up for other people that when we get by ourselves, we're uncomfortable. I know how to be there for you. I know how to be there for my loved ones. I know how to be there for my friends. I know how to be there for family members. But when it's time to show up for me, all of a sudden I'm uncomfortable. We can't be alone. We have to find something to do. Have you ever noticed sometimes we can't even sit in the house, we can't even sit in the house by ourselves for too long. You got to get out. You got to go find something to do. I can't be in here too long. I've been home too long. I spent too much time home. Now, for me, I'm a homebody. So for the most part, I like being home. I actually prefer being home. I try to get out, but I actually like being in the house, you guys. But a lot of times, most of us can't even sit in the house by ourselves for too long because the truth of the matter is we aren't familiar with who we are. So when it's time to be by ourselves, when it's time to be alone, we are uncomfortable. We're not comfortable with being who we are. We're not comfortable with being by ourselves because we've been so much to so many people. It is time to shift the perspective. It's time to shift our focus. So I know someone is saying, well, Trina, how do I shift my focus? So here's what I've been working on. Here's a list that I kind of like. The top 3 things that I've been working on. And I'm making a conscious decision to put these things into practice and to focus on these 3 things, at least these 3 things every day. My first thing that I did was I came up with an action plan. Instead of spending time hoping things will work out or focusing on things that I can't change, I decided to make an action plan. To change my perspective. Do things that move you towards your goals. For example, right? A lot of times, most times, some of us may not necessarily be where we want to be in our careers. So you may want a better job, for example. You may want to start looking into some courses or some certifications that will allow you to be in a better position. Start looking at different career paths that you may be interested in. See what those requirements are. Do you meet those requirements? If you don't, you may want to sign up for like a certification. I know certifications are really quick. I'm in a certification right now for something that I'm working on. Sign up for some courses. You may be at your current job and you may want a different position. Start signing up and getting into some extra trainings. I know with my current job, we always have different trainings where you can uptrain. So maybe start getting into some different trainings. Start coming up with an action plan. The reason why I'm saying action plan is because you need to put some action into your plan, okay? So this is not just about writing it out. I know we're great about writing it out and making a list, but a lot of times we make those lists, we write it out. The new year is coming up. We like to do vision boards. A lot of times we look at those things and we don't do any action behind that. But make an action plan, something that you can accomplish, something that you can work on to better you, instead of focusing on what you don't have, what didn't work out. Is it going to work out? Are they going to call? Are they going to be my friend? Instead of doing all of that, put your focus, shift your perspective into something that helps build you. The next thing I'm learning to do, and I've been doing this, is to take a few minutes alone every day where you can eliminate all of the distractions. Take a mental break. If you can start out with 5 minutes. I know if you're not used to being alone or you're not used to quiet time, I think as adults, at some point, you kind of want that quiet time. You kind of want to eliminate the distractions. If you're not used to doing that, start out with like 5 minutes. Take at least 5 minutes every day that you just sit down, and in that moment, you don't do anything for anyone else. It's not about anybody else. It's not about your children. It's not about your parents. It's not about your job. It's not about your circle. This is 5 minutes of you time where you focus on yourself. You focus on your emotions. What are you feeling in that present moment? Maybe you want to start journaling. I know I have so many little notepads that I keep with me. I keep one in my purse. I keep one on the nightstand in my room. I have one in my office because I need to journal sometimes. Sometimes I feel certain things, and in that moment I need to get that down on paper. I need to write down exactly what I'm feeling that moment before I go to bed. A lot of times I journal. I write down exactly how my emotions were that day. You may want to take those 5 minutes to really deal with you. Journal. One of my practices that I do, and I do it. I try to do it every night. Sometimes I miss a night, but for the most part, I try to do this every night. I practice mindfulness meditation. I know meditation has, for some people, it's like, I don't want to meditate. All I need is Jesus, or all I need is prayer, and that's really good. But prayer and meditation actually can go hand in hand, believe it or not. And so one of the things that I practice is mindfulness meditation, where I take a moment. And again, I try to do this every night after I journal. I literally, before I go to sleep, it actually helps me sleep throughout the night. After I journal, after I pray, I actually do my last thing that I do is my mindfulness meditation. You can look it up. There are plenty videos on YouTube that you can look it up. You can do your research and see exactly what it is. But in that moment, in those little 5 minutes that you're taking for yourself, practice, you may want to practice meditating. It is just to bring your thoughts together. We have so much that goes on in our brains. I know for me, I tell people all the time, I am constantly thinking. I can be in a full conversation right now while I'm filming this. My thoughts, I am constantly thinking. I can be in the middle of a conversation and I am thinking. But when I take those few minutes every day to take a mental break, to eliminate the distractions, that means do not get on social media. Do not start surfing TikTok, which is like one of my favorite places to go, or YouTube, another favorite of mine, or Facebook or Instagram. No, take a moment to eliminate all of those distractions and just center yourself. The last thing that I've been focusing on is choosing to focus on my right now moment. This moment right now that I'm living in. Focus on what is happening where you are right now, not what is not coming to pass, not what you didn't do, not what are we going to eat for dinner, not what are we going to, do next week, how is our weekend going to flow, am I going to get the job, are they going to call, will they show up? No, we're not focusing on any of that. We are choosing to focus on the moment right now. When our minds are always worrying about our future or we're stuck in our past, we miss being in the now. We miss moments of right now, taking this moment in. I know a lot of times as a content creator, right? I pick up my camera and I'm always wanting to jump on the camera. I love creating content. It's one of my passions. I think I've grown to just love being in front of the camera, y'all. But what happens with being in front of the camera and grabbing we have our phones, right? And we're always grabbing those moments. You're at a concert and you're grabbing your phone and you're grabbing your moment. You're at the football game. You at homecoming. And you want to grab those moments, and it is great because we're making memories, right? But what happens is a lot of times when we're grabbing those phones, when we're grabbing our cameras, we're not living in the moment. We're missing the moment. So there's a lot of times that I'm grabbing my phone and I'm recording something, right? We're at a concert, for example, and you're recording your favorite artist. You're at the Beyonce concert and you're recording this moment, right? Because you want to remember this moment. You're creating memories. But a lot of times what happens is because I'm recording this moment and I'm trying to make a memory, I'm not living in that moment. A lot of times when I have my phone out and I'm recording this moment, I'm actually missing it because I want to make sure I'm getting the angles. I want to make sure the people that see this, understand the song that's being sung to me or this experience. I want you to enjoy this experience with me. But the truth is a lot of times because I am recording it for other people or I'm recording it to remember it, I actually am not in that moment. Because I'm focused on making sure I got the right angles. Oh, they don't look good, so let me try it again. Let me do, And so a lot of times we need to choose to live in the moment. And yes, that is a choice. It's a choice that you make. It's a choice. All of this is a choice. It's a choice to shift your focus. It is a choice. You choose to change your perspective. It is an active choice. And I'm not saying that it's going to come and just your whole life is going to change overnight. Now it can. But that doesn't mean that it will. No, you have to actively do these things. Actively come up with an action plan. Don't just write it down. Make an action. Start working on it. Take a few minutes to yourself every day until 5 minutes starts feeling like, oh, I need longer. Now I can go to 10 minutes. I need 10 minutes by myself. Now I need 20 minutes by myself. If I can get a good 30, oh, we talking good. If I can get a good 30 to just focus on me in that moment, and then choose to focus on the moment that you are in, on that particular moment that you're living in, instead of focusing on everything that we don't have. The bottom line is, if we're looking to change our lives, it starts with changing our focus. You have to see it before you can see it. Change your perspective. We're in this thing together, y'all. Well, that is my time, you guys. Make sure you all stay connected with us on our social media platforms. If you want to see the video component of today's podcast, all you have to do is head over to YouTube and you're going to type in Exactly Correct Podcast and the episodes will come up for you. Also, follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Trina Felicia. And until next time, guys, always remain exactly correct. Okay, bye.